Hi, YouTube. I'm just waiting for TikTok to turn up. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Oops. I'm just opening up my kombucha. Lollipop. That's cute. Anyway, while we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from and how old your kids are. I'm also filming on YouTube. That's where these lives are saved. But my big audience is on TikTok. I'm just getting into YouTube now. I love YouTube, but I don't understand TikTok either. I'm also on Instagram. I don't understand that either. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, California, London, Ontario, 14-year-old daughter. You're in the thick of it. Actually, teenagers are my favorite age. Well, newborn and teenager, but teenagers last for like years. Newborn is like, what, 3 weeks? 16. That was California, 16. Girl or boy? There's no difference, by the way, in which one's harder to raise. I've been asked this many times. What's harder to raise, a girl or a boy? I haven't found. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've got 2 kids. I wouldn't say that either one. You need help. Well, that's what I'm here for. So hopefully I can help you. If not, the link above has more help if you want more than just the live. Okay, and I'm also filming these on YouTube, but my big audience is on TikTok. So that's why I'm answering. If I get questions on YouTube, I'll try and read there. Okay, so let's get going. If you go on the link above, it has everything I have to offer. You can buy my courses. My big one is the Bratbusters Bootcamp. Sets you up as a leader in 5 weeks. And then I have 3 mini toddler courses right now. I also have coaching that's one-on-one done on Zoom. So you can be anywhere in the world, and I work around all different schedules. I work some really weird hours. Anyway, and then also my free behavior board, that teaches you how to give respect to get it. That's sort of the start to all this. If you have a 3-year-old and above, it works with 3-year-old to 99. It's just an accountability chart. But they can't understand accountability under the age of 3. So even at 3, you're just getting into it. Okay. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Miss MJ. My 3-year-old fight and is a bully. I need help, please. So you got a 3-year-old bully. Yeah. I want to help you out with that. But okay. What I mean is I'm thinking that's more coaching. It's kind of a specific thing. But then I also go into that in my Bratbusters Bootcamp. I go into bullying in there. So if you want to check that out, that might be for you. Otherwise, I would pick never use the word bully, obviously. We use it because we understand. It's like the word brat, like, you know, it's kind of a mean thing to say, but we know what we're talking about, but you never use those terms around children. Anyway, so bully. So what you do is you put on the behavior board, pick a very specific thing that your 3-year-old does on a consistent basis and put down no and put that down. And there's a consequence if they do. But also that course may be of help to you. They don't tend to bully or be bullied once you're a leader. Once you're a leader, everything kind of falls into place. Does that make sense? If kids have a leader, they look to you for everything. They go to you for everything. They want to please you. So how humiliating would it be if you looked up to someone like a mentor, like your parent leader, and you looked up to them and they heard that you were hurting other kids or something? It would be embarrassing. So that's where you want to go. It just prevents them from doing pretty much anything naughty. Okay. And the reason, I never use the word bully or brat when I'm talking about kids. My name is Bratbusters because I wanted to eliminate anyone who didn't have a sense of humor. I can't work with you if you don't have a sense of humor. Parenting's messy. You got to be able to laugh some of this stuff off, right? Life is messy. I don't take anything too seriously. Well, I take my business seriously, but you know what I'm saying. You got to learn how to not sweat the small stuff with kids when they're older, especially. You got to learn to pick your battles with teenagers, especially. So you have to let a lot go. No one's commented on my white shirt yet. I keep saying I can't wear white because all your words are all white and I have to pull my hair forward so I can read your white words against my white shirt. I just got off my bike. I had to run a bunch of errands and I had to take my bike because I had to get back here in time. So, and this was what I wore, so I forgot to change. I didn't have time. I got home like 2 minutes before I had to start this. It's all good. I got everything done. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. My 3-year-old says, shut up when upset, how to stop it. Okay, so put down on the behavior board, that is free. If you go in the link above, it'll link to my behavior board. It's completely free. You put down no bad words, and shut up is, I consider that a bad word. So I say no bad words, and there's a consequence if they say that. And also, that's a tell. It means they don't respect you. 3-year-olds often find their power. If you're not a leader, they find their own power. You know what they do? They turn 3 and they can start to sort of reason, and they go, wait a minute, you're not in charge. I think I will be. So often that happens. If you're a leader, they don't do that. They already understand when they're toddlers that you're a leader. They just sort of pick up on it. Their behavior doesn't always reflect that under the age of 3. But by 3 and 3.5, that's when their behavior 100% is a direct reflection of your leadership or lack of. You have 100% control over your children's behavior past the age of 3 to 3.5, certainly by 4. If you're a leader, they just piece of cake. Got to work for it, though. You got to earn that. I teach you how to earn that. My Bratbusters boot camp teaches you how to do that in 5 weeks. It's if you got a 3 to a 12-year-old. Anyone can do this. Okay. This is California. That's the 16-year-old. Okay. She was an A student until this point, which is 16. All of a sudden, she's not interested in school. Something's happened. I don't know what it is. If you want to hire me, you'd have to hire me. I'd have to figure that out. I ask a whole bunch of weird questions that you probably wouldn't. You go, why on earth would you ask that? Yeah, I'd have to figure out what's happened. I'm assuming you've already asked her, and she hasn't. She said nothing. I'm fine, right? Yeah, we'd have to figure that out. Usually, it's 5 sessions with teenagers. That's coaching in the link above if you're interested. But yeah, I have to figure it out. It's tricky. Teenagers, they're smarter than us because their brains are like heightened power. And they don't have all the baggage we have. The brain cells haven't started to die out. I'm 62 years old. My brain cells, I'm sure I've only got a little bit left. I mean, I can just feel it. I'm not as quick as I once was. My brain just doesn't quite work. I say the dumbest things now, really dopey sometimes. Like, what the heck? Oh yeah, I'm 62. Brain cells are dying out. But with teenagers, they've got that brain power, but they just haven't got the context of life yet. They haven't got that. They tend to live in the moment. They're very dramatic. They don't see tomorrow. Tomorrow's a long way away to them. So yeah, they tend to get more caught up in today. They don't have objectivity about life yet. That's our job, to help them through that. Transition. What do you mean by transition? That could mean a million different things. So you're going to have to tell me. Toddler transitioning problem. You're going to have to explain that. What do you propose instead of timeout? Anything else, pretty much. I hate timeout. No, not anything else. Okay. But keep watching. With children under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. Timeout is just humiliation, shaming them. It's not teaching them anything. So consistent corrective actions. When they do something bad, you say no, and you take that toy away, remove them from the fun, remove the fun from them, whatever. So that's consistent. They won't learn the first time. They probably won't even learn the 20th or the 50th time, maybe the 100th time. So under the age of 3. Over the age of 3, use my behavior board, or you can buy my course, the boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching, and I'll teach you how to set yourself up as a leader so they don't act out anyway. You want to prevent the misbehavior, right? That's what I did. My kids were self-disciplining right through the teen years. They were easy because they respected me and I respected them. It's got to be two-way. If it's just one way, you're the authority. We don't want obedient little soldiers. That's not what I'm about at all. I want my kids had a voice, believe me, and they used it. So, but there was mutual respect going on there. So that's what you want. You'll sail right through the teen years. I specialize in teenagers. That's how I started my business, was teen crisis work. Now I'm more into prevention. I still do that stuff, but I don't lead with that, right? I don't advertise that. But yeah, I want to get you through those teen years. So I know we're talking about babies and toddlers and little ones, but it's the teen years. I'm always working backwards. Never take parenting advice from someone who doesn't know teenagers, because how on earth can they get you through those teen years? They don't even know what they're talking about. Half the time, they're building resentment in kids. I see this all the time. Oh, we hired someone and they told us to do this and that, and then the teenagers just go crazy. That's why. Because they don't know teenagers. You got to hire, if you're going to hire someone or read a book or take parenting advice, 2 things that person has to have in my eyes. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. Have they lived with teenagers and proved they know what they're doing and right through the adulthood stuff? And also, have they worked with hundreds of other kids? I didn't learn a lot with my own kids. They were a piece of cake. I got respect when they were little and sailed right through. But I've worked with all ages, disabled children, children with all sorts of behavioral issues, crisis work, abused children, right through the teen years. I've done all that. It's hugely experience-based. So I get really frustrated when someone comes to me for help and they told me all this money they put into someone else who doesn't have experience, and they've told them all these things that have led to resentment. Their heart's in the right place, they mean well, but they just aren't experience-based. So watch that. Watch where you're getting your information from. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other old ladies or old men out there like me who are heavily experience-based. That's what parenting is all about. Huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists. It's not that they're struggling more than anyone else, but they're learners and they want to get it right. But they know I couldn't do what they do, but I know parenting. It's personal. It's different from anything else. What a rant. Oh my God. That started with what do you propose instead of timeout? Can you believe I just did that? Oh my goodness, Lisa. Oh, I wore myself out. I worked up a sweat with that one. Just a sec. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about this. I love it. Okay. She said nothing. I'm fine. I know. I already said she'd say that. Yeah, nothing. I'm fine. Yeah. You'd have to do some detective work. That's what I do. So, and she might be fine. She might just have developed it. Like it might be nothing. We might find nothing. But anyway, if you want to work with me, and there's no guarantees with any of this, but especially with teenagers, because they're smart, right? They got their own stuff going on. But there's a few little key things that I've seen throughout the years. Okay. Oh, this is cute. Okay. Not cute, but I know what I'm going to say. My kids are 7, 6, and 3. 2 youngest team up against oldest, want to play without her, etc. Yeah, that's that. Okay. So what I suggest you do is, in order to have family unity, family where everyone gets along, you play with all of them. Okay. So, okay. How do I explain this? So you don't do one-on-one time with each kid. That's if you're working on connecting with your kids and you want them to have a good relationship, you don't do one-on-one with them. So what you do is you play stuff with the family so that you play to the weakest link. That 7-year-old is being left out, play something that they might be good at. So you just play, and it's usually silly stuff. Like it's just games, that game with the whipped cream in the face, stuff like that. That helps. And what you're doing is you're encouraging all of them to have fun together. If you're all having fun together, they are actually having fun with each other at the same time. It helps family unity. That's my general TikTok answer. If you want my help, my more extensive help with that would be one-on-one coaching. Okay. Oops, I gotta pull my hair across because the letters are white and I can't see. I don't know what that is. I don't want to read it because I don't know what it means. So it's a 2-letter acronym, but I don't know what it means. Write it out in full, because sometimes I've read stuff out and it's been rude. And my daughter was watching one time and she goes, I can't believe you read that out. Oh, I didn't know what it meant. It's about a year ago. So I've learned. Okay. ADHD, ADHD, this is all for any kid with ADHD, that's where I learned all this stuff, was kids. I work with alphabet kids. I never worked with easy kids. I always worked with kids. I called them alphabet kids. They had all sorts of acronyms. ADHD, WXYZ. ADHD, 9-year-old girl struggles with listening at home, even with routines, and parents staying calm and direct. Okay, you're staying calm and direct. Have you got the behavior board set up? And you talked about routines. Set up a school morning routine. That's there's 3 routines that work really, really well to set yourself up as a leader. One is bedtime routine. One is school morning routine. Another one is mealtime routine. So try and set those up. Pick one, only one per week, and just, nail it. Maybe a morning routine. A 9-year-old might be a school morning routine. So just put that on the behavior board, follow school morning routine. And if she doesn't, then there's a consequence. So start there and see how it works. So you say staying calm and direct, but are you organized? Do you have systems? Do you have routines? Children with ADHD, especially, they tend to really thrive on routines. And I'll tell you something, I've worked with hundreds of kids, and no one ever handed me an easy kid. No one ever once ever said, here's an easy one, Lisa. They always said, good luck with this one, Lisa. So they always handed me the feisty kids, right? And the feistier the kid, the quicker I could get their respect. Do you know why? Because they are the ones that are craving leadership. That's what all that acting out is. That's what all that is. They're craving direction, routines, systems, leadership, respect. They're craving all that. When they come up against a calm leader like me, you can see it. They almost go like this. Oh, finally. They relax and they lean right into it. So, yeah, get organized. Set up systems. Start with 1 per week, though. I would do them all in one day. But if you're learning how to do this, start with 1 per week. Oh, that makes sense. I think I have some ideas. Freedom and floor. What was your question? 17. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, you got to do inclusive fun. Okay, and my toddler keeps hitting other kids. He is speech delayed. How do I stop this? Consistent corrective actions. I actually have a course on toddlers who hit, if you're interested. It's one of my mini toddler courses. It's up in the link above there. It's perfect for you if they're hitting. They're going to do that. They're toddlers. They're just crazy, right? They're going to try stuff, but they're either born to hit or they're not. They're either going to do it or they're never going to do it. There are four things that we are all born to do or we're never going to do them. One is for toddlers. One is climbing, which is the scariest because they can end up on top of the fridge. I mean, that's scary. So you want to childproof your home. Anyway, 2 is tantrums. 3 is aggressiveness. And the 4th one is runners. Those who don't look behind to see where you are, they just take off and run. So those are the 4 traits. You're either born to do them or you're not. My kids didn't do any, except my son did tantrums. But they didn't do anything else. The climbing's the worst. That's the most dangerous one. Because running, you put them on a leash, right? So yeah. But they're super common. And it doesn't mean that they're rotten kids if they're aggressive in that. That's something that they might be really good in sports. They might be really good at playing tennis and hitting. We don't know where that stuff's going to lead, but you want to address that when they're little. By the time they're 3, all that stuff should be over pretty much. Okay. I used your board, the behavior board, for a week, and that's free in the link above so far, and started to see progress with managing one issue at a time. It's so important. Thanks very much for sharing that. It's so important to do 1 rule per week. Some parents go in, they put 4 rules on there, and then they can't figure out why they tank. But it's like anything. It's called like habit stacking, that James Clear, what's that book called? Habit, something habit. Anyway, James, I love that book. Anyway, can't remember the name of it right now, but it's about habit stacking. So it's like anything. When you're learning something, you stack the lessons. It's like anything. Shoot, Atomic Habits, that's what it's called. Anyway, so yeah, you pick 1 rule per week. You nail that. Doesn't mean the kids are being perfect or you're being perfect. It means you're making it happen. If they break a rule, you impose the consequence. Then you add another one the second week. Now you've got 2 rules, 2 different boards. Then you've got a 3rd one. You only go to 3. After that, you don't use behavior boards. That course teaches you how to do that if you're interested. That's my Bratbusters boot camp. You start with 3 behavior boards, 3 weeks, and then by week 4, you're doing in-the-moment discipline. You don't use the behavior boards as much anymore. Everyone wants week 4, but you got to build up to that. Your habit stacking, your learning, right? So yeah, good for you for just doing 1. Some people do too many, and then they get overwhelmed. And then they always say, yeah, but what about all the other rotten stuff they're doing? I'm saying, so? No, you're just focusing on one thing. Just fumble whatever you were doing in the past, keep fumbling. You're only going to nail and perfect that 1 rule and consequence. That's it per week. It works. It does. There's no way would I be doing this if I wasn't 100% confident in this stuff. The reason is parenting to me was the most fun I ever had. I take it really seriously. There is no way I would give you this advice if it hadn't been used for the last 51 years, and I know it works because it's based on respect. You're connecting with your children. You're disciplining them in their world. You're connecting with them in their world. It's all good stuff. You want kids who are confident, problem solvers, high self-esteem. That's where I want you to go with your kids. I don't want you to have obedient little soldiers. That is ludicrous. May make your life easy, but I think it's misery for the kids. I don't like it. I don't know what you mean by positive punishment. I don't get that. I don't want to make punishment positive. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I want it to be negative. I don't want them to like it. It's good for them to learn that. Okay, any ideas for bad at school, good at home? And what's the word? It's a contradiction. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're a leader at home, they're going to be good at school. If they're good at home, they're going to be good at school. Or are you just giving in to everything at home? Are they getting their own way? You see, it's either that, or there's something going on at school that you don't know about that's upsetting them. It might not be something horrible. It might be something little. But even then, it's unusual. If kids are bad at school and good at home, it usually means that you're giving in and they're in charge at home. It just usually does. Unless something's going on at school. Achievement board for classrooms. Any ideas? Oh, I do not teach teaching. Those are reward charts, that kind of idea. I hate them at home. I think they're horrible at home. Like if you have a reward chart for your children at home, it's like saying you're normally rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a reward. I think that's ridiculous. My basic expectation was nice kids. I wouldn't reward them just for being nice. I don't walk down the street and expect to be rewarded. Oh, look at you. You're not committing crimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want a reward for that. But at school, it works. It's not home. They're very different. Huge portion of my clients are teachers because they think everything will transfer over to home. It doesn't. They're different roles. Teaching and parenting are two different roles. I couldn't teach. I'd get up in front of a class and soil myself. I couldn't do it at all. But parenting, piece of cake. Troubled teenagers, piece of cake. Yeah, that's all my thing, but not at school. Do you have a parenting book or courses? I have lots of courses. They're up in the link above. I have 3 mini toddler courses. I've got another one coming up. And then I've got my Bratbusters boot camp that teaches you how to set yourself up as a leader and get respect with 3 to 12-year-olds. 13 and above, that's still one-on-one coaching. I'm trying to figure out how to do a course on that. But boy, oh boy, teenage stuff is, plus it's my favorite age to work with. So I don't quite want to let go of that yet. Like I love coaching. I love teenagers. They're my favorite age. Okay, I'm just going to look on YouTube for a second. Sandra. Oh, thanks for watching my videos. So you're just from YouTube, are you, Sandra? I spend most of my time on TikTok. I'm also I'm on Instagram a lot. I'm just kind of learning YouTube. Okay, after a few times, if my kid's not listening, I don't know, triggers, I become vulnerable. Okay, so you keep repeating yourself when you ask your kid to do something. I only ask once. And even then, I don't really ask. I say, hey, the garbage needs to go out. That's how I talk. I don't say, can you please take out the garbage? They're not doing me a favor. They're contributing to the household. So I say, hey, the garbage needs to go out. And if they've forgotten, right, or something, I don't know. And then if they don't do it, then I take action. And yeah, I say, hey, you forgot to take out the garbage. So you'll be helping me with the laundry next week. Okay. My kids would have gone, yeah, okay, sorry. Like they would have got it. But yeah, I don't repeat myself. Anyway, you just keep watching. You can't just get them to do that one thing perfectly. You got to set yourself up as a leader. Remember, their behavior is a direct result of our parenting. If they're acting out and not respecting you, that just means you're not a leader. That's all that tells me. So we're not fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching parents here. You lead, they will follow. Guaranteed. They just do. When you're a really good leader, when they're little, especially when they're young, they will follow you. They'll just want to please you. Unless there's some, extenuating circumstances. But they want to please a leader. They just do. We all do, though. You think about that. Have you ever had a boss or someone or a coach or someone that you really look up to? Would you ever be snotty to that person? It'd be embarrassing. You look up to them. You want to be around them. You want to please them. You feel good about yourself when you're with them. My goal was always to make kids feel good about themselves when they're with me. Think about the power that gave me. Like when they liked themselves when they were with me, when I was working with kids, if they liked themselves when they were with me, what kind of power do you think I had? Huge. But it was subtle. They just would be humiliated to be rude to me. It would be humiliating. Why would they? Okay. Teenager age 14 refuses to get out of bed every day for school. You have to hire me for that one. I deal with that. Teenage stuff is coaching. Right now, I don't have a course on teenagers. It's all coaching, one-on-one. And yeah, that's a very common one, by the way. Coaching, it's all in the link above. Everything I have to offer is in the link above here on TikTok and in YouTube. It's in the description. What action do you take? Okay, check out now. If they're 3 and above, you use my behavior board, or you can buy my course. My boot camp course teaches you how to get respect in 5 weeks. If they're under 3, I have toddler courses, but under 3, they're about consistent corrective actions. They are not about words. They're about actions. You take action. And you ask what actions? I don't know. You'd have to tell me how old are they and what did they do wrong? You know what I mean? Like there's millions of actions you could do. I need the exact what did they do wrong, and then I can tell you what action to take. After daycare, my 20-month-old's behavior changed for the worse. What can I do? Yeah, because they're worn out. They come home. They've had to control themselves at school all day. No one's going to be catering to them one-on-one. They come home and they just let all their crap out on you. That's normal. It's cleansing. I would actually do something like take them to the park if they need to work out, like if they not work out, if they need to work out some of the energy, take them to the park. Or if they're really sleepy and tired, maybe just sit in a corner and read a book to them really quietly. So either one, it depends on the kid. If they're ADHD, usually going to the park, running around the park with them. You don't put them on a swing. That's not getting energy out. Okay, you maybe swing twice and then run around the swing set twice with them. If they're ADHD or like really hyperactive. But if not, sit and read a book with them. But yeah, it's really normal to let out that, oh God, it was so exhausting having to be good all day. What age to start chores? 3 years old, my kids were making their bed, putting their laundry away, and putting their toys away every day. But I'm very minimal and organized. And I had a toy rotation system. So everything, it took them under 2 minutes to do all 3 of those chores every single day. Making their bed, I had a duvet and they just had to pull it up. I'm a real fuss fart, like everything has to be perfect with me, but I would go in afterwards and make everything perfect. But I made sure there was an empty hanger where their shirt went. There was an empty spot where they had to roll up their pants. I'm very organized. So it was piece of cake. So make it doable, make it easy and organized. No one I can't do anything in clutter, chaos. I don't function that way. And kids are very much like that. So make it easy for them. I'm just reading my TikTok, my YouTube. Sorry, YouTube, I'm usually on TikTok. That's where my big audience is. So I'm just reading. I have to go to my computer to look at the YouTube. Okay. 5-year-old always trying to delay nighttime routine. Okay. Bedtime routine. I'm actually, that's the course that I've got to get out this week. I've got some pressure to do that. I don't want to tell you what it is, but yeah, I got to get that done this week. Anyway, I've made some promises. I know I've promised before to get that bedtime course out. Anyway, bedtime is twofold. One is the routine. The other one is keeping them in bed. The first one is a very specific routine. It goes for an hour. And it's bed. Then at the end, you read them a book. And then at 8 o'clock, have timers. Say, okay, 8 o'clock, lights out, stay in bed, don't get out of bed. And then or if they're scared, you can have a night light or you can have galaxy lights. I'm hungry. I don't feel well. Whatever, good night, stay in bed. Like you just don't fall into that, right? Make sure you don't give them anything to drink 90 minutes before they go to bed. Also, make sure they peed, all that stuff. And then, so you've done the routine and then you've got to have a specific time. If you're not consistent, if you allow them to talk you out of that time, they are in charge and I can't help you. If you're willing to let them talk you out of it, nothing I can do. You have to be willing to go through the storm to get to the rainbow. You just got to make this stuff work. So it's called bedtime battles. So at bedtime, this is how it goes. You say, okay, good night. You can have galaxy lights or a sound machine or anything to make their room more special and more comfortable if you want. Kind of helps. It's usually one night of sheer hell. And then they often never get up again. But you got to be willing to go through this night of hell. So what you do is you say, okay, 8 o'clock, good night, love you, and you walk out. But I'm thirsty. You're gone. There's no way I would answer that. There's no way. Anyway, so I'm gone. And then they get out of their room. They come out, they get out of bed and they come in the room or they're yelling out. I ignore the yelling. But if they get out of their room, then I say, I said it's bedtime. You stay in bed. I put them back in bed. Kicking and screaming. Only one body part has to touch the mattress. I don't care. Then you're always calm and slow. And you just say, I said it's bedtime. You stay in bed. That's the first time they get out of bed. So you put them back in bed, then you walk out. Don't let them get past the threshold. You don't want it to become a game of chase. So you walk out. If they try and get past you, pick them up again and say, bedtime. One word only. That's the second time they get out of bed. Every time after that, you don't look at them or talk to them. And you're slow and calm and consistent. And you put them back in bed. It might take 50 or 100 times. Doesn't matter. The bigger the storm, the bigger the rainbow. The bigger the fight, the bigger the lesson learned, right? The bigger the scene, the bigger the lesson. So yeah, you got to keep that up. One dad, God, he was so funny. He said all they did, he drank heavily and he was so drunk by the end of it because this kid went till 5 a.m. It was an older kid, went till 5 a.m. and getting out of bed, kicking, screaming and all that. And the dad just calmly kept putting him back to bed. He never got out of bed again. That was the only night. It was hell. And the dad said, all I did was curse at you, me, and drink heavily. And, but anyway, so yeah, it's one night of hell. Are you willing to go through it? It's worth it. Okay. I'm just looking at YouTube here. Okay. Now, let me see. Sorry, I just didn't understand the question. Where are you from? I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, but when I coach, I never get anyone from Vancouver. It's usually all over the world. So um, most of my clients are American, I would say. A lot of English speaking, England, Australia, New Zealand, a lot of English speaking, but a lot of people are like Egypt or Africa, wherever. And it's interesting because when I get people from countries like, especially in the Asian countries, they have different cultures. So those are challenging for me because I know exactly what I teach, but I've had to learn a lot about different cultures, and I do have to adjust some of my methods for other cultures for religious purposes or whatever. So it's quite interesting. It's not like my way. It's not my way or the highway. It's my way. I know it works for me, and that's what I teach. But when I'm working with people from different countries, I've learned so much about the rest of the world. Some of it's wonderful. What I love is the village raising a kid when there's all these different generations and they're all close by and they're all part of it. It can be part of the problem, but it also can be wonderful, you know. So anyway, my kid kicks and screams and throws stuff. Well, I don't know the age. Are they just a toddler? If they're an aggressive toddler, I have a mini course for that up in the link above, and it's toddlers who hit, bite, etc. It handles aggression in toddlers. If not, if they're 3 and above, then you might want to put down hits and throw. No throwing stuff. Just put down one thing though. No, you can put down no aggressive behavior, and then you explain that means this is their 3 and over. That means no hitting, no throwing stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know how old they are, so my answer is kind of all over the place. A 4-year-old that won't try new foods. I don't push foods on kids, but here's what I did with my own kids. And I don't give nutritional advice because I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, but I tell you what I do with my own kids. I'm really a health food nut, and I'm more so now than ever because I don't have kids I have to worry about. But when they were little, I did give them some. I did have to cook. I hate cooking. Anyway, so what I did was I only had healthy food in the house, and I made everything from scratch. So they understood there's either this healthy food or that healthy food. They didn't grow up with a taste for salt and sugar because there was no chips or ice cream in our house. Like it just didn't happen. So, but yeah, they understood that food is like fuel. It has to have to eat healthy. They grew up like that. They go through the teen years and they'll have some junk food. And then my son's still not as healthy as my daughter and I, but my daughter, she got a holistic nutritionist degree. And I think part of that is the way she was raised. And my son still leans into healthy food. He still talks like, you know, he likes healthy stuff. So yeah, you want to teach them that. But they tend to eat better and try new things if they don't have all that crap waiting in the background. It's just the way it is. Like my kids knew if they didn't eat their broccoli, there was no ice cream waiting for them. But I made my own cakes and cookies. I made a lot of stuff. But they were full of wheat germ and, you know, they didn't taste like other cakes and cookies. I could hide healthy stuff. But this is kind of a cute story. My son went somewhere and he came home and he goes, their pizza was really weird. Like my kids, when they went out, you have at it, eat whatever you want. They'd always come home from birthday parties with stomach aches though, because they'd never had all that sugar at home. So anyway, he says that pizza was really weird. The sauce was red. Well, on my homemade pizza, the sauce was brown because I pureed spinach into it. So I can hide healthy stuff in anything. I was a professional at that. So yeah, it always was a little bit different. They'd go out. They always came home and their cookies are really weird. Okay. It's not that mine are weird. So you make that choice. They're less likely to be like they'll eat healthy if that's all they've got, right? Okay. Kids are a lot of work, would rather have a dog, less work, more loyal. I love parenting. It was the most fun I ever had in my whole life. And my daughter and I, she's 29, we see each other every day. So yeah, we're very close. Yeah, I understand. Kids aren't for everybody though. Like I always say, it was the most fun I ever had was parenting. I miss that. But yeah, it's not for everybody. I know lots of people who never had kids and they're just as happy as I am, you know, like it's not for everybody. My 2-year-old plays up and hits her dad, but will never do that when I'm around. Yeah, that my kids were like that too. Well, they didn't hit, but they were definitely push their dad around. There's usually one leader and one pleaser in the family. There's never the old-fashioned authority style. You can't have an authority parent and a leader in the same house. I've never seen it. There's either an authority and a pleaser, or a leader and a pleaser. But usually they can sort of both be leaders, but there's usually one clear leader. And that's okay. My dad was the pleaser. My mom was the leader. I was the leader. My ex-husband was the pleaser. But the thing is, once they get past the age of 3, they don't tend to push anyone around. Like they just learn. So because they tend to lean into whatever the leader teaches them. So they just don't push anyone around. But my kids, if they were pushing dad around, asking him for stuff that they knew I wouldn't want, he would just say, "Do you want me to tell mom?" And they go, "No, never mind." So they use me as leverage, but 2 is too young for that. How do you deal with the constant use of no from a toddler? I just did a video on that. I think yesterday or Thursday, I think I did a video on that. Toddlers who say no to everything, check it out. Yeah, I went into that. Okay, what did you do as a mom during Halloween? Wasn't yeah, the sugar. Anyway, well, my kids were raised in Australia. They don't have Halloween there. So that took care of that. But also, here's what I did. I did start out giving them a lot of crap for Easter when they were little, but then I threw most of it out behind their back. But then what I ended up doing is I got smart. I should have figured this out before, but live and learn. And as they got older, what I realized, I thought, well, I don't have to do that. What I did was I cut out a whole bunch of paper eggs, just plain egg-shaped pieces of paper, and I would put a letter on each one. So, and they'd have to solve the puzzle, and that puzzle was a gift. So once they solved the puzzle, they got a gift, not chocolate, but they'd get like, I don't know, I don't remember, but we'd go to the play center. It was usually an experience. So we'd say, we're going to go do paintball or what, I don't remember what it was, but it would usually like the arcade, something like that. So it would spell out arcade. I'd help them out with that. And then they'd also get some chocolate eggs, but they always wanted those letters because they knew they were getting something fun. Or we'd go to the water slide park, or there was tons of theme parks. My kids are raised in Brisbane in Australia, and down the Gold Coast, it's theme park alley. It's like tons of Disneylands all the way along there. So we'd go to a theme park or something for Easter. So yeah, that's what I did. So you don't have to give them, if they go to Halloween and get all that crap, you can hide a whole bunch of that. Do you have any tips for helping an 11-year-old boy when puberty isn't being very kind? I don't quite know what you mean by that, but I can guess. Yeah, that would be more coaching. That's the sensitive issue stuff, and that's more coaching. My course is from 3 to 12-year-olds, the Bratbusters boot camp. That's really, I talk about all sorts of stuff in there. But if it's really something that he's really struggling with, that extra stuff, that would be coaching if you want my help with that. Might just be 3 sessions for that. Puberty's awful. So awkward. You got zits and it's so awkward. It's funny though. This wasn't what reminded me of that. But I remember when my son was 15, or he was 14. We were like best friends. We talked about everything. We were like girlfriends almost, right? And he was 14. Every morning I'd get up. He was usually up first, before school. I'd be up, I'd shower, and then I'd come down and I'd say, "Morning, sweetie." And I'm a morning person, by the way. "Morning, sweetie." And he'd go, "Morning, mom. How are you?" And I'd say, "Fine, sweetie." And I'd laugh at his voice cracking. We just got along like great guns. Anyway, then he turned 15. It was like overnight. He grew up. He grew to 6 feet tall. He went from 5'6" to 6 feet in 6 months. And anyway, then he turned. I said, "Morning, sweetie." And he just turned 15. And he turned around. His face looked different and everything. And he went, "Morning, mom." He just turned into a man overnight. It freaked me out. I stopped, but it just freaked me out. He just looked different. And we were talking about everything. He just turned into a man overnight. It was really weird. So yeah, puberty. "Morning, mom." I loved all that. So much fun. Ah. This is an expectation, and I deal with this all the time. How do you teach an almost 3-year-old, so a 2-year-old, how to wait in line at amusement parks? I mean, how do you teach them how to be polite? You just stop them from being rude. If they start to run away, you say no. They're not going to understand that. They're not going to, like, your expectation's a little bit off. That's up to you to just make sure they don't do the wrong thing. You can't really teach them how to do the right thing until they're 3. And even 3, and they're starting. By 3.5, you can teach them how to do it, but they're just sort of learning. Okay, actually, I have to get going. Thanks, Lisa, for the answer. Okay. I'm looking on YouTube. With my 13-year-old, I really need help. I feel like I'm losing control. That is coaching. Teenage stuff. I have a big group at Bratbusters. I keep saying it wrong. I keep calling it bootlegger, Bratbusters. Bratbusters, it's the name of my company, and it's a boot camp. Teaches you how to get respect in 5 weeks. Anyway, that's there. But if you have a child who's 13 and above, that's coaching one-on-one with me. So it's all done Zoom, usually 1 hour per week. That's usually how we do it. So anyway, if you're interested, you can check that out. Everything's in the link above here on TikTok, and in YouTube, it's in the description. So anyway, I got to run. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again in my scheduled live on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. That's my time, Pacific time. Otherwise, I turn up pretty much every day, and I never know when. It's whenever I've got time. So thanks so much for joining me, and happy parenting. Bye now.